hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. And a very, very warm welcome to the podcast on breaking barriers, building and building the futures. So, we are basically going to discuss women leading in tech, and that is the kind of background that we all come from today. So, my name is Vasantha, and I'm elated to be the guest host for today's podcast in recognition of the International Women's Day. And I'm greatly honored to be joined today by the five inspiring leaders. So I'll just give a quick view of the panel members that we have today. Starting, this is in the alphabetical order. Dr. Maha Farhan, she is the CEO of Almisk Properties, based out of Oman. Lauren Green, she's the OCA account manager at Oracle. Leona Chauhan, she is the CEO of Magia Consulting. She'll be joining us shortly. Philippa Clifford Davis, Senior Director, EMEA Partner Initiatives, and Dr. Sharon Rajkumar. She is the Vice President in Happiness and Wellness Evangelist, Happiest Health. So I think we should be actually patting our back today as we look proudly back on our life journey and the great strides that we have made in our professional lives. I think everyone agrees with all of us of this point, because each one of us who are there in the panel today, irrespective of the geography or the region that we belong to, each one of us would have faced a lot of challenges, especially being a woman, right?
Well,
Yes,
definitely,
no?
woman is a challenge, but it's not.
Yes.
We need to challenge ourselves before we challenge anyone else.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Definitely, Dr. Maha.
I
So
completely
true to the
agree.
title.
Challenge ourselves, but also see it as an opportunity. Being a woman is definitely an opportunity, and we need to seize it.
Very
Yeah.
very true, Philippa. Completely agree. Yeah, so true to the podcast title of the podcast today. So each one of you who are present today have broken a lot of barriers and the glass ceilings to reach the positions that you occupy, and definitely I bet it has not been very easy, right? So yeah. So now I kindly request the quick guests to quickly introduce themselves. So I'll start with Dr. Maha. So if she can just quickly introduce her to the other panel members.
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Maha Al Farhan. I'm actually based out of the United Arab Emirates, not Oman. I'm handling a group of companies. We started with one company, but then now we've expanded to 5 different business units. Um, so my life journey is I graduated, I started working in other companies. Gained a lot of experience over 20 years. And then I got my doctorate in business administration, leadership, and innovation. I then joined the MISC, which is our family company, but I managed to change Al-Misk Properties from an ordinary property management company to something more, something that is ahead of the environment, ahead of the field that I'm working in. Today, we have over 100 employees, and we are still expanding, and we're hoping that within 2 years' time, we will go even beyond our borders.
Oh, okay, that's great. I think definitely as we go ahead in the session, we'll definitely like to give you insights, give us insights about your entrepreneurial journey.
Well, it started a long time ago when I was a pharmacist.
Okay,
I
okay.
I'm now in property management. So when I was in my previous career life as a pharmacist, as a clinical researcher, I managed to introduce a new field altogether to the Middle East. But then I sold off my old company in 2011, and then I joined the real estate. So
Okay.
what is it to be an entrepreneur as a woman? I think it is a lot of challenges. People sometimes say woman versus man. It's not. It's woman versus woman. It's versus ourselves and our own barriers. And I think one of the biggest barrier we have, or one of the biggest challenge, is how to balance home life and
True.
work.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm a mother of four. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy.
right.
But it was extremely difficult when they were young. Now my children are all
And
adults in university.
yeah,
Uh, so being a woman in the workplace, it's different from being a man because you tend to be more tentative to the people around you. You tend to be more
Sure.
inspiring. You like to develop the people around you. We are drivers. We like to drive for results, but at the same time, we're compassionate and we understand the challenges that everybody goes through.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting journey, and I'm happy with what I've achieved so far.
Okay. So somehow that motherly instinct definitely plays a big role in our professional journey as well. Then.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think it does. Cannot separate us from our instinct, from our basics.
Sure. Thanks so much, Dr. Maha. So I move on to Lauren. Lauren, can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Lauren Green. I've now been at Oracle nearly 2 years. I was actually given a really good opportunity to come through what's called our Geno program. So I've actually been in sales for about 13 years. Whether that's all different areas of sales, from IT peripherals to mobile phones. So yeah, I've got a wide spectrum of different products. So I came through what's called our Geno program, which is a really great program that brings people from all different backgrounds and walks of life and industries and trains them up to become an Oracle employee. That program should last anywhere between about 12 to 18 months, and I was very lucky to only do 6 months in it before I became a account manager that I am now. So yeah, really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It can be difficult at times, but can't any job. But yeah, it's a lot of fun working with some really interesting people, understanding their businesses and their data, and helping them strive to be better companies. So yeah.
Yeah, so that must be a very enriching experience, you getting an opportunity to meet people from diverse backgrounds, right? I think.
Absolutely, yeah. So Geno isn't just people from the UK as well. It was people from all over the world. So that was a lot of fun, and understanding different people's backgrounds and where they've come from and what they've done throughout their lives and stuff. So yeah, it was lots of fun.
Sure. Thanks so much, Lauren. So good morning, Leona. Welcome to the panel discussion.
Good morning.
Yeah. So Leona, a quick introduction about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Leona Chauhan. I started working in the Oracle industry maybe about 20 years ago now. I joined Oracle as an intern during my university degree, and then I came back as a graduate. I worked for Oracle for about 7 years. Then I went on to work for Accenture. I then worked on the client side of technology implementation projects. And it was during that time I had the inspiration to start my own business. So I'm currently the CEO of Magia Consulting. We're a specialist Oracle CX partner based in the UK, but we cover globally. I've also recently taken on the role of CEO of the UK Oracle User Group, which is a community-based organisation to empower the Oracle community.
Oh, great, Leona. So definitely we want to get insight about your entrepreneurial journey from being an employee to how you transformed into an entrepreneur. Great. Okay, Philippa, over to you.
So thank you so much for having me. I am the EMEA leader for partner initiatives. I've been with Oracle for 16 years. Prior to joining at Oracle, actually, the organization Leona just spoke about, I worked for the UK Oracle User Group for 7 years prior to joining Oracle. So I've had 20 plus years in this community and I've loved it. I've had the most amazing opportunity for a myriad of different roles, different lines of business. One of the things I love about working for Oracle is I've had the opportunity of having different careers underneath the same roof. And I am passionate about ensuring that we enable more women to come through the door and have a very clear access up through the levels and for as much opportunity as I have been fortunate and also kept my eyes open for throughout the years.
Great. I think you seem to be a mentor for a lot of women actually entering the tech. So it's really great to have a woman mentor specifically because they are in a better position to understand your challenges and problems, and they can give you those unique solutions. I hope you agree.
I
You must
definitely
have.
agree, and it's one of the things that keeps me passionate and
Yeah.
driven
Yeah.
is supporting those women of the future, and I'm sure one day I'll start working for them. So I'll cease being the mentor and be the employee.
True. Great, great. Thank you so much, Philippa. Yeah. So Dr. Sharon, you can just introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Vasantha. Good evening, everybody. So life is a matter of choices, and every choice we make really makes us, whether it's family or friends, career, health. Life keeps tugging at us in different directions, and it's all about the choices that we make. So after my MBA, I was working for some time, and when my son was born, I made a choice to be a stay-at-home mother. And after working in a company, I was now at home with my son, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. I did that for 4 years happily until he went to school. And then I went to work with a sterling group of companies. 5 years later, I realized I wasn't spending enough time with him. I made another choice to transition from academics into academics from corporate. So I was with the Christ College Institute of Management for about 10 years and with the Bharatidasan Institute of Management for 4. And after nearly a decade and a half in academics, I made a choice to move back into corporate. Happiest Minds Technologies happened for 11 years, and now with Happiest Health for a year and a half nearly. So I was privileged to design both my title and my role as Vice President and Happiness and Wellness Evangelist at Happiest Health. So life is all about the choices we make, no regrets, no looking back, only moving forward with joy, with happiness. And today I'm a happy grandmother of 2 boys.
Oh my God, I can't believe that you're okay, awesome, awesome. So I think it has been a very enriching experience for you. So because most of us, especially women, while men also, we struggle to achieve that work-life integration. So I think you have made strategic decisions at key points of your life where you took a call when to go a little slow on your career and give priority to your personal lives. But in that way, you ensure that you have the best of both the worlds then.
Thank you for saying that. So when I believe it's an investment that you make in your child's life, and it's not a sacrifice or anything. And looking back, it's been worth that investment.
Yes, I think it's very, very important that we don't have that guilt feeling. Most of us, the mothers, have that guilt feeling that I'm not able to devote sufficient time to my kids, especially in today's world. So I think we will dwell in little detail as we go ahead with the session. So I think we just can jump into the session. So my first question will be to Philippa. So Philippa, so there are too many barriers for women, especially as they enter the tech world. For example, we have the social, economic, cultural barriers as well, and especially with the AI barriers also, I'll say, because of the deep fake videos that come up. There are so many things that have come up because of the AI thing, where 94% of the morphed videos are accounted to the women. So would you like to discuss on the major barriers that women specifically in today's world face in the IT industry?
I truly believe that we are still our greatest barrier, that we put barriers upon ourselves of what we can do, should do. Talking about that mother's guilt. Can I do this? Can I be both things, mother and worker? And what I try to do in a lot of the mentoring that I do is try to help women overcome those own barriers and understand that we really can take control and have a lot more power of our life, of our destiny than we may believe. And that, something that I see so often, I've hired a lot of people through the years, and I'll have the job description. We have to do that. And I will go and speak to women and go, why didn't you apply? And they'll say, oh, because I didn't have that one criteria, or these things were missing, and it said I had to have this number of years. And I go, do you know how many men I've interviewed that had practically none of those criteria fulfilled, but they had the confidence to say, hey, I'm going to go for it anyway. Women need to have that confidence in themselves to stretch and to go, this is not a barrier. I have confidence in myself. I know I can do this, and to take control of their own destiny. So I am not underestimating the amount of actual barriers that are out there that we all need to work together to overcome. But the first thing we need to do is look upon ourselves and try to break down the barriers that we're putting up for ourselves.
Yeah, so while we will be equipped with all the skills that are required for the particular job, so maybe we are a little hesitant to try those unventured territories. So that is what you're trying to say. Maybe we'll have to work a little bit more on our confidence levels. So while it will be backed up by the required skills.
Absolutely. And to know that there are hundreds of women around that want to support us. So, be vulnerable, share what you feel are your barriers so that the women around you and men, I mean, we've got incredible allies out there who can help you realize for yourself your full potential.
Yeah, true. So coming to Lauren, for example, there is something called gendered mediocrity. For example, as women, we are not too much into networking, or we as Philippa said, that we don't showcase too much of a confidence. So we tend to be a little humble about our achievements. We don't do too much of a marketing and a branding. So what do you feel that as what concrete steps should we take to advance women's empowerment in terms of networking, upskilling? So any practical tips to further on this area?
Yeah, so probably linking back to Philippa's point really is mentoring is a great thing, and I think that's a massive advocate for us, not just as women, but as employees anyway. I think having people around you with a wealth of knowledge that you can learn from and who can support you and who can back you up in your thought process and where you want to go and what you want to do, I think is a great step to take in careers. I personally always had a mentor, or even if it's not a mentor written down on paper, it's somebody that I know that I can go to and lean on when maybe I'm feeling a little bit not so confident in myself, and maybe I just need somebody just to clarify something and just understand my thought process before I go ahead and do what it is. And even from a personal aspect as well, my two massive advocates in life are my husband and my dad. Two blokes that come from very similar industries as me, so I'm able to bounce things off them and understand their thought process as well. So yeah, I think mentoring's a massive thing. I think it's something that people oversee quite often and maybe don't think about very often. And networking just in general, as you said. So getting events together and learning from other women, and not just women as well, though, as Philippa said, there are men out there that have got some really great ideas and really back women up as well. So yeah, just understanding from a knowledge perspective there, I think is definitely mentoring's a way forward, I think.
Yeah, so having a mentor or a support system is very, very critical, I think, and we shouldn't be shying away from seeking help. Sometimes we do shy away because sometimes seeking help is seen as a sign of weakness. I think we should be breaking that barrier and seeking as much support as possible, as you said, irrespective of the gender of the person. I think so. That should be the cornerstone, that support system and mentoring should be your priority as you navigate your professional life.
Yeah, I'll quote even my current boss at the minute, and that's not to fail on your own. Don't ever feel that you should sit on your own and suffer, or just talk to people, get understanding from them, see their thought process, and make a plan.
Yeah, sure. For example, men specifically, they do a lot of networking. For example, after office hours, also we immediately rush home. We have to take care of our kids, other domestic responsibilities. Whereas men do have that benefit of networking with their friends or colleagues over drinks or a cup of coffee. So do you think that it is just not the casual networking, but do you think that women still hold back themselves from networking actively, their participation in other seminars or any other engagements? Do you still feel we still hold back ourselves from
I
active?
can only speak from personal experiences myself, and not having children, and having a husband again who is in a very similar industry, and it's the way that I've been brought up, is that I do tend to go out and network, and as you said, after hours maybe go and have a drink with colleagues or
Right.
customers and stuff. So I don't personally. I'm very much that networking person. I'll speak to anybody. That personally doesn't faze me so much, but I can understand why, as you said, mothers that have got to get back to their children, pick them up from school, or take them to after school clubs and things like that. Then yeah, of course, that is 100% going to be the first priority.
Yeah, so I think it's very critical that we build a great support system around ourselves, whether at home or at office, so that we are able to have this perfect, there is nothing called perfect, but at least a balanced work-life integration.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks so much, Lauren. So my next question is to Dr. Maha. So Maha, actually, I just read somewhere, so one of the founders and managing partner of a blockchain fund, wherein her current fund supports around 50 odd companies. So she says that less than 10% of those are female founders. And she also explains that while on one hand, not many women-led startups receive the required funding, on the other hand, only a handful of funds are being run by the female investors. So ratios are extremely skewed. So how did you break these barriers on when you started your own entrepreneurial journey? Maybe you can just share your personal experiences or reasons that motivated you to take up this role, your venture, and how did you navigate through all these challenges?
Well, it's very funny. What I'm gonna say is I was out of my mind.
Okay. So sometimes you have to be crazy if you want to achieve the
Yeah,
impossible.
yeah. But see, initially I was driven by passion. I
Okay.
liked what I did. I liked what I studied. As I mentioned before, being into the real estate market, I was in clinical research. So I was so passionate about science and medical technology, medical advancement. And I was so enthusiastic. I just wanted to bring technology to where I am.
Mm.
I was educated in the UK, so I thought this is my opportunity. So really, I was driven by passion more than anything else. I did not think of the barriers. I did not think of demand and supply. I did not think of anything. I just wanted to get the message across and to get everything delivered. Now, the result is I became very well known in my field at the time. I was the reference to so many governmental agencies and regulatory bodies and so on. But because there wasn't much of a market, it's more like I have created the market of clinical research in Arabia.
Oh,
However,
okay.
being the first is not
Mm.
always an advantage. Being the
Right.
first, you're the one who's taking the burden to open a door, a gate for everybody else to follow.
True,
So
true.
I am the one who had suffered most in the industry. It was a very nice experience. I enjoyed it. I had the support of my family, everybody around me, but it wasn't what I aspired for. 10 years later, and I thought maybe this is not really the place I should be for a long term.
Mm.
Anyway, there are newcomers in the market and they're doing very well. And that's where I switched. And I thought, okay, let me switch from clinical research to real estate. And that is my family business. When I moved to real estate, I brought with me all the experiences I had in clinical research. So it's the same thing. It's a market, it's a business development, it's a profit and loss balance sheet at the end of the day.
Right.
With the experience that I have, I was very equipped to take on the family business and drive it forward. It's more like I built up muscle when I was establishing the first business, and now in the second one, I have all the muscles I need.
Oh,
And this
so I
is
think
not
it's you learned a lot from your experiences, past experiences.
Yeah, you do. You do. You make mistakes. You make all
Yeah.
kinds of mistakes. And on your own, without having any support, sometimes you make some really stupid and very expensive mistakes. And that's fine. It's part of
Yeah,
life, isn't it?
true. I think they are the stepping stones as to the position that where you are. I think you owe it to your mistakes more than your success, basically. Then.
You have to make mistakes before you make success. Otherwise, you won't be able to break those barriers. But
So
from
true.
each mistake, you have to look at it positively, reevaluate it, reflect on it, see where did you go wrong, and then move on. I'm a kind
True.
of person who work mostly on my own, so I don't listen to people. And anybody me anything negative, I don't register.
So, do you think that people have a perception that Dr. Maha is autocratic, or they are a little scared or apprehensive of approaching you? Do you have that image?
Well, it's a mixed image. It's kind of
Okay. So maybe it is not being aggressive. You can say that I'm being assertive, right? So you
I
know where to draw the line.
and I learned how to not only develop my skills and myself, but also those around me. So my expectations is very high of the people around me, and whoever works with me. I mean, that's something I hear very often when people work with me, that they started from A and now they're like so many points forward because since my
Hmm.
expectations are high, they cannot cope.
Right.
They can only cope with me if they meet those expectations.
So
So
okay.
I do help them. I do help everyone to develop. It's something that I do all the time, but it's something that, some people can't keep up with me, might find it a bit apprehensive.
Yeah. So you need to have a lot of fire, lot of passion, and I think you have to be absolutely fearless.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so.
I
I
think
think
that's a very, very critical takeaway. I think being as Philippa said, that we have to be confident. As Lauren said, that she has a great support system in her dad, and the key point from you is being fearless. I think these are some of the traits that we should be imbibing in our day-to-day life, specifically women. If we really have to come up, considering that the current percentage of women folk in IT industry, especially in the India geography and UK, is close to 36%. Definitely, we have come a long, long way of being from 9% in the 2000s. So in the 2 decades, we have really made very good progress to coming close to 36%. So I think while it is really encouraging, maybe a few decades down the line, we should be at 50%, so that we become equal partners in the real sense then.
well, you see, in management, there are two types of main management styles.
Hmm.
There's the transactional management, and that is the thing that tells you go and do the job and do it right. And
Right.
there's transformational type of management. This is more like us. We transform people. We bring people up.
Right.
We teach them, and
Yeah.
we encourage them to do the best that they can.
Right.
So
Right.
that being a woman in business is so essential. I find that I think every company should have a woman in leadership
Yeah.
because you're gonna balance it. You're gonna balance
Yeah.
the leadership styles of the company.
Yeah. So the assertiveness and the empathy quotient, I think that is how we can balance it out then.
Definitely.
Right. Okay. So here to Dr. Sharon. So Dr. Sharon, I think in today's time, I think being simple has become the most complex thing. We tend to overthink a lot. So while as compared to our ancestors, materialistically, we are definitely much more comfortable. But still, happiness still seems to elude us. So in a very, very very layperson's definition, what exactly is the definition of happiness in very, very simple terms? And my second part of the question is, do men and women perceive happiness differently?
Sure. Thank you. So let me take it separately.
Okay.
Happiness is a esoteric concept. So many, many years ago, Aristotle said that that is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of our existence.
Okay.
So when Ashok Sutta wanted to start Happiest Minds 13 years ago, he had been researching on happiness for a couple of years, and he believed that it was important that a tech company should be differentiated on happiness. A disruption of sorts at that time in 2011. But we've come a long way, and therefore I cannot give you one definition for happiness
Okay.
and say this is happiness. It's like they say, when you're looking for happiness, you never receive it. But then when you're quiet, it comes and settles on you like a butterfly. But also, research has said that we all have different set points for happiness. So
Okay.
half of our set point is determined, predetermined rather, genetically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And 10% is circumstantial.
Okay.
Whereas what is important is that we look at that two-fifths, the 40%, and then say that this is something that I can work on. I can, as an
Okay.
organization, since happiness is a conscious choice that one makes and not an automatic response, as an organization, we cannot ensure the happiness of our people. But we can definitely enable their happiness by providing all the enabling conditions, the fertility conditions, as it were, and the capacity conditions that help one build their two-fifth. Now, to answer your second part of the question, who's happier, men or women? Happiness is different for women and men. So, research has said that women's happiness has been declining over the past 30 years. And research also says that women are twice as likely to experience depression and other mental health conditions compared with men. But research also says that women are more likely to experience intense positive emotions such as joy and happiness as compared to men. So their positive emotion literally balances out the negative emotion. Also, women seek help and have access to help when they really need it and recover faster than men. And a lot of brain studies, neuroimaging studies also say that women utilize that area of the brain which contain what are called mirror neurons when
Okay.
they
Okay.
process emotion. So we
Okay.
are, as women, able to experience the world from the other person's perspective, to understand their actions, their intentions, makes us more empathetic as well.
So genetically, will I be right if I say that women possess more empathy quotient than men? I don't want to create a controversy, but genetically, is this how we have been blessed with then?
Apparently so, because women are more likely to express happiness, warmth, and fear, which
Okay.
helps with social bonding and appears more consistent with our traditional role as the
Yeah.
primary caregiver. Whereas
Right.
men
Right.
display, I'm talking of traditional roles, men
Right. Right.
display more.
I think Dr. Sharon, we lost you.
I'm on the call.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So I said, men have more a protector provider role traditionally versus a caregiver role of women. And that could also account for these differences.
Okay. Okay. So certain aspects we can account it to the genetic framework of how women are blessed with that.
Sure.
So I think that so it makes even more critical as to why the women's quotient in not only in tech, in all other industries should also increase so that we have a more happier workplace then.
So I've been very fortunate that way. At Happiest Health, we have nearly 60% women.
That's much above the industry average then.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so any specific initiatives your guys take to onboard more women? Is it a cautious decision to onboard
No,
more women, or it is just that?
no, we don't do that.
Okay,
It just so
okay,
happens that women love to join Happiest Health, I presume.
okay, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharon. So my next question is to Leona. So Leona, I think uh, we all discussed about the kind of passion and the confidence levels that we should be no we should as women we should be having in. So any tips, how do we build that confidence or resiliency over the course of a career, so even during times of dejections, we don't take the decision to quit?
So I think confidence, like from my experience, it's always been based around being authentic and being yourself and being comfortable in your own skin and being comfortable to show who you are to others. Because when you're yourself, you'll find that you attract the people and the network around you who support that authentic self, which makes you feel more confident in being yourself more. And it's like not a downward spiral, it's like an upward spiral, because you're surrounding yourself with people who, you know, are inspired by you, or who you feel inspired by, who have the same values, the same ethos. And that's all through being authentic. If you try to be some vision of somebody who you know you think you should be, then, you know, firstly, people can see when you're not authentic and they don't connect with that version of you. But then also you're kind of almost attracting the wrong sorts of people, right? You want to attract and have people around you that are aligned to your values. So I think, you know, being authentic is hard, because sometimes it means being vulnerable. You know, you put yourself out there, so you're like open to judgment as well. And you think, well, if I say that, if I do that, if I dress like this, what will people think of me? And, you know, there's this societal expectation of, you know, what women in the workplace should be, you know, what they should look like. And actually, none of that is true, because you can only be yourself. So I think authenticity is a key part of being confident.
Yeah, so I think we shouldn't be just blindly imitating others. Maybe we can imbibe their qualities and see how we can, you know, develop on it.
Absolutely.
But ensure that you don't lose your originality and authenticity, because people can definitely see through it if you're just trying to put up a mask. That mask can fall at any time.
Exactly. It's like being self-aware and knowing your development areas is very important, and something to think about as well. But I think being yourself and shaping your career in a direction where it's something you enjoy, where it's something that fulfills you. It's not just, you know, you're doing something for the sake of it. You know, it's, you know, especially in technology, there's so many different paths you can take. You know, in tech, you can be coding, you can be creative, you can be marketing, the design, management, leadership. There's so many different areas that you can go into, and just think to yourself, what is it that I want to do? What would fulfill me the most, and where can I shine, and move in that direction, and surround yourself with the people you need that can help you go where you want to go, and empower others as you do the journey.
Yeah, so you continue that cycle of passing on your learnings to the others as well. So the law of attraction. So just keep your authentic self so that you attract the right people into your life then.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, coming to you, Lauren. So in one of the interviews that I was seeing of Indira Nui, the former board member of PepsiCo, so she was telling that women do not support the other woman as much as men do. So do you agree on that? And how do you feel that one woman should be supporting the other woman? Any tips?
I can't say I've got any tips per se. I know what I would do, and that is being an advocate for whoever it may be. I suppose it comes back to that whole mentoring thing, right? So it comes back to putting a good support network around yourself and making sure that you push the person and drive the person to the best of their abilities, right? So we can always see from outside the box and from an outsider's point of view how well this person can do, but sometimes it's difficult, as we very much know ourselves. Like, let's be honest, we've probably all doubted ourselves at some point and gone, can I do that? Philippa, going back to what you said earlier about hiring people and having the job description, but just because they didn't have that one specific point, that they then decided they weren't going to apply, which is silly, because we can all do it. We just need to believe in ourselves. So again, going back to that, let's have a support network around us, make sure that we've got people from different parts of the business, and again, your personal life, people from different backgrounds, and different industries, to help guide you in what they've done and support you in that way. I'm all for, again, going back to that point of my boss saying, now, don't fail on your own, right? There's nothing worse than feeling alone. There's nothing worse than feeling you're fighting a losing battle. So yeah, and again, with us being women, we're very empathetic, and we're a lot more caring at times, and we can almost see it more in other women when things are maybe not quite right, or that they need that little bit of extra push, or that, come on, you can do this, being the biggest cheerleader you can possible. So yeah, I suppose it's spotting that when you can see it happening, and making sure you can support that person.
Great. So you deal with people from a lot of diverse backgrounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So cut across nationalities, geography. So do you feel that people have affinity only? Do they support people only from a particular geography, or irrespective of their nationality and geography, there is a great support system among themselves?
No, I think we're all very self-aware now that as people, that we need to be supportive of each other, right? I'm not saying that doesn't happen sometimes, and that, of course, that sometimes you have to go and fight for it, right? Or say, look,
True.
I need your help, or whatever. I completely get that, but I do think in 2024 that there is definitely more support there, and we're almost self-aware ourselves now to support other people, for sure.
So we, as compared to the earlier times, we are definitely in a better place as far as the support system is concerned then.
Definitely.
Okay,
Definitely.
I think, okay, that's a very, very positive, and really elated to know that we definitely are a great support system to each other. Of course, there will be problems here and there, but majorly, I think we are on the positive track then.
Look, there's always going to be work that needs to be done, and there's always going to be things that need to be changed ever so slightly to help, because life changes as well, right? And communities change, everything changes, so it's just making sure that we keep up to date with all of that.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Lauren. So my next question to Philippa. Philippa, you have been in a leadership position, and do you feel that, have you ever been treated differently by your colleagues because you are a woman, whether it is on a positive or a negative tone?
I'm sure I have, right?
Okay.
To my opening, I really do feel being a woman is a benefit. Whether it's because I went to an all-girls boarding school and it was like drilled into us that we are the leaders of the future. I believe that all of the hardships or barriers that have been faced builds up resilience, and therefore that builds into what we're able to be as leaders. Also in IT, there are less women, so therefore we are more memorable too. So, you know, if you think there are 20 plus people applying for a role, chances are very few of you are going to be women, and you're going to stand out more because of that fact. I think we all need to harness what our USPs are and look at it as such. So even in my experiences where I think there have been times where I have been treated differently because I am a woman, I think genuinely majority of the cases, it is not coming from a place of negativity or wishing upon me a negative result. It's more, you know, using foul language, and I'm the only person that gets apologized to in the room. That kind of thing that sort of isolates you as different. But instead, you know, taking that opportunity to build awareness with the person and let them know how that makes me feel. I appreciate where they're coming from, but what does that do for me as an individual? So I have had those experiences, positive and negative, but I think what we all need to do, and this goes back to a confidence level, is taking each and every one of those opportunities that you're given and turning it into something you learn from, you develop from, and then you also share with others. And this is something that I think is really important, is that no one feels that they are alone. I'd love to pick up on a point that was made a while ago about networking and that feeling of alone. Part of my experience has been, I've been a home worker for 16 years, actually longer than that. I think it's been close to 20 years that I've been a home worker. So building a network face to face has always been a challenge because I've never been in the office, which means you have to work harder to build that network.
Right.
Don't use anything. Any barrier you come up to, don't use it as an excuse for doing it. You just have to find a new approach and put yourself out there. Leona is actually part of a network that I set up called Wonderful Oracle Women, which is because there were all these women working in our partner ecosystem that didn't know each other. And I thought, let's bring them all together. Let's find a way to network when it's only a virtual community that we can build. So again, yes, I have had those experiences. Use them all as opportunities. Sometimes it's easier to do than others, but use it as opportunity, and always make sure you're sharing those experiences with others so they can also build and grow off of it.
Yeah, I think so. So networking and mentoring and being a great support system to each other, I think it's a very, very critical parameter so that we can navigate this journey successfully. Okay, so I just slightly tweak the question for Dr. Maha. So Dr. Maha, so being in charge of your organization, so you will also be leading a lot of women. So do you find any challenges in leading men and women? Do you have to apply a different strategy when you have to lead men?
Not really. Not really. Everybody's equal in front of me.
Okay.
So the only thing is, more women started working in our organization since the time I took over.
Okay.
But I treat everyone equally. I don't think there is any difference. Everybody needs to achieve the same target. Everybody needs to do the same thing. I do, however, sometimes find that when we have, say, an opportunity for a promotion or a vacancy, the men will bring more men into the company. They would actually recommend more people to come in. Ladies are very shy to recommend their colleagues or friends or whoever that's in their family, but men are very forward-coming. So I have to resist, and I have to make sure that whoever applies to any job opening or a promotion have an equal chance. So yes, men then tend to be very supportive of each other more than women. And that's probably one of the barriers that we have to face.
So you agree that women do not support women as much as men do to the other men?
I think probably there is something, some truth to that statement.
Again, maybe Dr. Sharon can comment again. Is it because of our genetic framework? We don't know.
I have no idea about that. I've not done any research to see why men promote men, but women don't promote women.
Okay, so maybe it can be your research topic.
I don't want to go there.
You don't want
I'd rather stay away from that because I believe in an inclusive environment. Even when you asked me the question earlier, what are the strategies you do to employ women? I think that would be very non-inclusive if we had hiring practices that only look at women.
It has to be on merit.
It has to be on merit, and whoever comes. We should not have a targeted hiring just to hire women. That is being non-inclusive to men.
Right. So as Lauren said, I think that's a silver lining, that things have definitely changed as compared to the past. We do have more women supporting the other women.
I think as one of you said, if we as women are more confident of ourselves, network better, and then we will get those opportunities. And, let us not look at just our limitations, because every crisis can be turned around into an opportunity. The Chinese word for crisis and opportunity apparently are the same, the combination of letters.
No, Dr. Sharon, I totally agree. And I think there's something that I would say about many years ago when I was first starting. I think that so much has changed. I think women, if I think back 16 to 20 years ago, if you think about that African proverb, which is if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think if you want to go fast was almost the mantra of women back then. It was, I need to act this way so I can go fast because this is what I see ahead of me, right? It was mostly men. This is how they work. So I need to do the same. When I used to work for a management consulting firm, I wore the black suit with the white shirt. So I looked like everyone else so that I wouldn't stand out. So, and I think in the last, however many years it's been, that if you want to go far, you go together has become more the mantra of women. So more women are thinking about lowering that ladder behind them and not trying to just go fast, but to go far. And I think that that's the kind of dynamic change that we're seeing.
I like the way you said it, to lower the ladder behind us so that others can get onto that ladder and come with us on that journey.
I think that's a great support system in favor of a woman supporting another woman there. Oh, thank you, Philippa, for that. Okay, coming to you, Dr. Sharon. So, of course, all of us would have seen a lot of disappointments and challenges while we navigate a professional career. So, maybe at one point of time, did you come across any such disappointment to the extent that you wanted to quit, but then you decided, no, I won't? And how did you overcome that challenge?
Thankfully, no. I've been blessed to work for organizations that value me and my work. Those occasions where I left the organization were choices that I made. When I left corporate to get into academics or academics back to corporate, those were all conscious choices that I make. I didn't leave because I was disappointed at work, thankfully.
Okay, so while you have been fortunate, maybe so it's very, very important that we have this support system, a very, very strong support system around us. Again, it just doesn't apply to women, it applies to anyone, whether in our personal lives or on a professional lives. Each one of us who are sitting here, definitely we have a very, very great support system at home as well. For example, as Lauren said, her dad. So each one of us, our parents, our friends, our extended family members. So I think anything that we achieve big in life, we definitely owe it to our support system, right?
See, having said what I did, as women, not everyone has this happy ride. There are many women who suffer, who struggle, and therefore it's important for all of us to be good listeners, to be mental health ambassadors or advocates for one another, not just women, for men as well. Because I was just reading a WHO report which said that every year, because of depression and anxiety, US dollar 1 trillion is lost every single year.
That's a huge,
That's
number.
huge. And
Huge.
and it's important for us to be listeners. Just when someone's going through a conflict, or when someone's going through loneliness or grief or unappreciated at work or whatever it is, all that one needs is a sympathetic listening ear and someone who will listen to them in privacy, confidentiality, and safety. That's the first step. And then they can seek help. We can help them seek help if they need a professional. But as women, we already are good listeners, I would say. So we just have to tweak that and, be better.
My husband would say that.
Yeah. Yes, thankfully, the stigma around mental and emotional health, definitely there has been more awareness, especially in today's times. We don't attach the same stigma to the mental health and emotional imbalance as compared to the previous times. So I think with times, definitely there has been a lot of radical changes in the way we look at the emotional, and someone is going through a mental and emotional challenges, I think we don't look down upon them, or we don't castigate them, or no, we definitely try to provide a support system to them. So the acknowledgement of the mental and emotional health issues, especially in the tech industry, of course, it has increased manifold. Most of the organizations do have in-house counselors who do provide counseling, sessions for the folks who are going through these challenges. So definitely things are on the positive way, but of course there is a lot of scope for further improvements as well. Okay. So my next question to Lauren, what are there any benefits of having a woman in a leadership role in an organization?
So I was, funnily enough, reading something the other day that there are now many studies out there that show that diverse teams can be more innovative and generate creative ideas, and that the greater the diversity in those, the thought process and the perspectives almost widen a bit as well. So this can lead to new approaches and problem solving and decision making. So as I said, according to the report, companies then with greater gender diversity can hit anywhere between kind of 25% and 30% more likely in profitability within the company. So yes, there absolutely is benefits, but again, we go back to that point of the person and the people should be right for the roles, right? And it shouldn't be a tick box exercise of, oh, we need to just employ more women or we need to employ more men, because then whoever you're doing that for, let's say, you're then discriminating against the other, right? So I'm still a very strong believer that if you're right for the job, then of course it shouldn't matter who you are, it shouldn't matter your background, it shouldn't matter your gender, it really shouldn't. So yes, there is benefits in diversity and gender diversity, absolutely.
Yeah, so diversity shouldn't just be a matter of tokenism, as Dr. Sharon said, that it has to be on a merit and irrespective of the genders, but definitely women, because of their ingrained qualities of being more empathetic and compassionate, I think definitely those traits help in bringing about difference in the organization.
Yeah, exactly that, right? So it goes back to being a good listener and spotting men. I'm not saying all men here, but men are very good at putting up a front and going, no, I'm fine and stuff. And I think women are quite good at spotting that and going, maybe you're not, let's have a chat. So having those different personality traits work together very well, I think.
Yeah. So coming to the point that I think sometimes the feminism is the most misused term. So most of us feel that feminism is about male bashing. No, anyone who believes in humanity should also believe in feminism. Feminism is about being equal with men. There's no distinction between men and women. So, but somehow I feel that it is the most abused word. And if I say that I'm a feminist, I'm told that you're putting the men down or you're showing them in poor light. Definitely not. It is just to showcase that we are different beings. And God, the Supreme Being, has created these diversities in nature. And I think it is just that we have to sustain it in all spheres of life.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so my next question to Dr. Maha, what will be your advice to the next generation female leaders?
Well, it's their time is much easier than ours.
Okay.
So it's to work hard and get it done, get the job done. I think now there is enough support system and there is high acceptance of female leaders. It's even encouraged everywhere. So if you want to do something, just go and do it. You want to achieve a milestone, do it. It's all there for you.
Okay, so the foundation has been laid for you. You just leverage the opportunities that has already been built for you. You just have to build on it. You need not go and reinvent the wheel, basically. Then
Exactly. I
right?
think it's the time now that they harvest everything that happened before. I mean,
So,
we give a pathway, and I don't think they have an excuse for saying I can't achieve my dream. Just
okay,
go
so
and
their journey is not going to be as tough as it was for the folks some 2 decades back then.
definitely, yes.
I think that itself is a very, very good sign that we are on the right path. Okay, it's because most of us have already cleared those challenges, and we have really laid out a very clear path for them. We are actually, can I say that we are offering them all these things on a platter, and they just need to rebuild. build on that?
I think so. I think so. I mean, now it's a time where society accepted more women support women, more leaders support the younger generations. I don't think there is any reason for them not to go and achieve their dreams.
Okay, so Leona, do you concur with it, or do you have a different opinion that things are easier for us in today's times?
I think in some ways it is easier. You know, there are things that have happened. You know, there's women who've broken barriers, who've lowered the ladder for others. But in other ways, you know, because we're in the digital age, there's a lot more, you know, women, especially if you've got an online presence, you're also susceptible to kind of more criticism when you put yourself out there and more judgment. So there is, do you know what I mean? There's both sides of it. I think go and get what you want to go and get, but I still think there's other challenges now that are in a different way that we need to support each other through, because in the digital age things are different.
Yeah, so while technology has been a blessing for us, but with AI coming in, the deep fakes and all, definitely there have been challenges on our way. But as Dr. Maha said, that the kind of challenges that she had faced maybe 2 decades or 3 decades back, so maybe the women in today's times will not be facing the same challenges, but of course there will be challenges of a different nature, of a different kind, for which they'll have to work on, they'll have to build a solution, and which the next future generation can harness on it then. So it is basically a cyclical thing that each generation definitely builds something which is further leveraged by the next generation. But the good thing is that we are on the progressive path. We are not going regressive, or it's not retrograde. So I think things are definitely, I'll say, we can be optimistic about the future then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, coming to you, Philippa. Just an offline, offbeat question. Any input that you would like to give to your 25-year-old self?
I think it would go back to the discussion about being authentic. My 25-year-old self was putting on that black suit and trying to look like everyone else and be everyone else. I didn't find my color until I was well into motherhood and realizing who I really was and how I wanted to present myself. So I think being authentic to myself, but also to others. I was an incredibly competitive parent with myself and with other parents. And it wasn't until my second child where I went, why am I doing this? And enjoy that time. I only had 2. I didn't go to the 4. And just in that 2, recognizing how different my children were, the experience was, and the fact that I only get one opportunity to be this mother that I'm going to be, and who do I want to be? And then I started representing that in my work too. And I do think that's something I would definitely say to everyone that's around 25 and back to myself, where you start thinking about that marriage and children. I mean, many 25-years are already there, but recognizing that being a mother is a strength. What you learn from being a mother, from patience to resilience to what you can manage on very little sleep, is phenomenal. And so that would be my advice to myself. Be authentic to yourself and to others, because no one wants to do it alone.
Yeah, because being authentic, I think, automatically elevates your confidence level, because you're not trying to put on a mask, because there's a lot of effort that is required when you put on a mask. So when you're an authentic self, I think everything comes naturally to you. So whatever is the good things in others, don't just try to blindly imitate them. I think we should be imbibing them so that we retain our originality. We are comfortable in our own skin, right? I think one of you pointed out that being self-aware and self-loving is also equally important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So my next question to Dr. Sharon, I think you are a mindfulness coach in your organization. So tell us more
Sure.
about what exactly is
Okay.
this mindfulness and how this whole journey started.
So in 2016, Happy as Minds, we added the tagline, the Mindful IT Company.
Okay.
Mindful was already one of our values. Smiles, the M in smiles was mindful, but more in the context of how can we be polite and courteous, kind, helpful, all of that. But when we did that research on mindfulness, and we said it's important to be mindful, to take care of ourselves. So, a lot of, I'm the mindfulness coach, like you said, and a lot of practices that I teach, and that helps us do mindful in our relationship with the other. How can we understand someone completely, to perceive immersively? How can I be non judgmental? How can I remove filters, biases when I look at people, my preconceived notions? And how can I be empathetic when I relate to others? So, what we do is 6 weeks after the mindfulness training, we do a
Okay.
post training survey, and we found, interestingly, that 2 in 3 people who practice mindfulness continuously for 6 weeks
Okay.
reported improved productivity.
Oh, awesome.
86% said, I can work well with others now. Hitherto, I couldn't. And 81% said, my personal health is improved. And in Bangalore, traffic snarls are too much.
True.
And someone said, I can be calm in a traffic jam. I can just handle it with ease. So there are physical benefits to a mindfulness practice because the brain waves are theta waves, which apparently are deep relaxation waves. And also the amygdala, which is the seat of all anxiety, shrinks in size with
Okay.
mindfulness practice. And the gray
Okay.
matter in the brain increases in volume.
Okay, okay. So being calm and being humble, I think because in today's time we perceive that anything that is said loud and outgoing only you get to be heard only when you are very loud. So I think the message that you're conveying is just the opposite. It is be calm because that's very, very essential, especially for our physical and mental health then.
Yeah, also,
Yes.
in terms of our workplaces, it all boils down to a culture of care, of understanding our teams completely, of not having a bias when we relate to them,
Not being
and
judgmental.
being more empathetic. I think it's a need. And
True.
women are intrinsically, we have high abilities to be empathetic.
Yeah, so I think it goes back to the point that we are basically social animals irrespective of the generation we live in. So even 1,000 years down the line, I think these social and behavioral traits will only help us navigate the challenges of life, whether it's your personal or professional. Okay, so just one last question for today's session, and that is to Leona. So, Leona, what is your message to the world to stop gender bias?
So gender bias, I mean, I think the first thing is recognizing it. Like, what does it mean? What are the stereotypes that people have? And then it's not just the surface level bias that we know about, it's all the unconscious bias as well. And then once you've kind of recognized those traits, it's identifying them within the workplace. So, we're in a data age. There's so much data that we have within our organizations, within the world. You can, in your organizations, you can look at cross-reference your diversity data against your promotion profiles and your appraisal profiles and be like, okay, what are the trends, right? Is it women consistently getting, I don't know, worse feedback, less promotions, less ratings, and why? And doing that analysis with like real empathy in terms of the reasoning and then addressing that. and thinking, what can we do? Because maybe less women are being promoted because they're not going for promotions because there's a confidence issue, like we've talked about. So then it's like, well, how do we empower women in our organizations who are brilliant to have the confidence to go for those, better, higher up senior leadership roles? So I think, in terms of bias, I would say recognition, understanding, and then addressing, and then, being really you have to uncover the uncomfortable truths to move forward and have a better way, and address those biases that exist.
So don't shy away from asking tough questions then.
Don't shy away from asking tough questions. Use the information you have at your disposal, and then think of ways that we can empower people, address the biases. Is it education? Is it workshops? Is it confidence building? Is it awareness? Is it training? There's so many different ways we can tackle unconscious bias, but I think conscious and unconscious bias, but the first step is recognition, I think.
So I think that is a fundamental thing, that you recognize that there is a problem. So only when we recognize and acknowledge that there is a problem, we can build on a solution for it then.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great. I think, thank you so much, all the panel members. I thoroughly enjoyed the session. So Lutika just pinged me that it's an hour, close to an hour, but I never knew how time flew by. But it has been a great insight, the various inputs that we got from all our panel members, ranging from building confidence, mentoring, networks, and the basic human traits that we still need to have in. Though we might have advanced too much on the technology front, but on the humane front, we still need to develop and sustain those human skills. I think then only the world can still be a livable place for all of us. So I thank you so much, Dr. Sharon, Dr. Maha, Lauren, Philippa, Leona, for taking out time. And this should not be just one session. We definitely look forward to you participating along with 4i Apps in leveraging and having these knowledge sharing sessions with a larger crowd, definitely.
Vasantha, if I may just wrap up with an acronym.
Sure.
So we women are magical. M for mindful, A for appreciative, G for grateful, I for inclusive, C for compassionate, A for authentic, and L where we ought to lean into one another.
Oh, I think that's the best way. I think beautiful way to wind up the session today. I think so. We never knew that there is a definition, such a beautiful definition for magical. Thank you so much, Sharon, Dr. Sharon.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you all very much.
You.
Lovely meeting all of you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Great to meet
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you all. Bye. Take care.